Hello, everyone. Good day to you, wherever you are. And today I'm sitting with Daniel Lanecki again. Daniel, can you please introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your career once again for those who didn't see the previous episode?
Hi, Evgenia. Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm currently working as a security consultant, specializing in strategies and solutions. Been working in this industry for the last 25 years or so, and working across multiple functioning areas and verticals, both on delivery side and client side, including banking, sporting, critical infrastructures, border security. So it's been a pretty interesting career ahead.
So last episode we did on sport events, which is quite interconnected with Stadia vertical. But another vertical which really caught my attention is, of course, banking. You've been working with Barclays, I believe we can mention that. And what role did you have with Barclays?
For Barclays, I was working as head of technology for security and strategy. But I've worked in other banks as well, Citigroup being one of them. But my most recent, you're quite right, was in Barclays, which was a pretty interesting journey working with them.
What was the original task which was given to you?
I joined to primarily focus on evaluating the current infrastructures, what they have, the whole estate globally. This included roughly around 315 offices and around 1,400 branches, banking branches. So I had to, understand what it is that they have, the technologies that they have, identify legacies, identify vulnerabilities, and then put together a strategy of mitigating those vulnerabilities, upgrading the technologies, evaluating the kind of operational impact that the change might have, work out the budget and present it to the stakeholders for approval.
Many of my clients are going through exactly the same exercise as we speak. And right now, with accelerated branch transformation, together with actually the transformation of the corporate buildings, that becomes even more interesting. So when you were choosing the infrastructure and the solutions to go forward, what were your parameters to evaluate, to think of the successful solution for the future, and what was the infrastructure you've been choosing?
So we set out with a task and aim to modify and to kind of improve the infrastructures, and this included every single functioning kind of component of security. And I would say the drivers for selecting some component or equipment was that it had to be secured from a cyber perspective, because we were moving towards an integrated platform, migrating it into a cloud. So for us, it was very important that the component itself was secure, but as well, it would function securely on a network, on a infrastructured network. So the basis of the selection was it had to be secured. So we went through multiple pen tests where we kind of tested it to the maximum, and we had independent pen testers do the test as well. It had to be, I would say, value for money. So we were not always privileged enough to pick the most expensive, but it was most practical. And I think also it was one of the critical components was working with the manufacturers. So they understood our journey and we understood their journey of how to plan ahead with our strategy. So a typical example would be that we would install something today, but it had functionality that could be kind of switched on 2-3 years down the line, when not only our operational teams were ready to implement the change, but also it would be compatible with other changes that we made. Because we had an instance where we rushed too quickly, we switched on all the functions on this particular component, but it wasn't compatible with what we currently had or what we're installing. And it caused more frustration from an operational perspective, but also from a maintenance and trying to get it work. So, it takes careful planning, definitely, but I think the three main things that we kind of looked for was obviously cybersecurity, protected from cybersecurity threats and vulnerabilities, value for money, and a good working relationship with our manufacturers.
So it sounds like this future-proof and growing with requirements was also like one of the major. But I want to jump back of what you said about cybersecurity, because I hear still in the banking vertical and actually in many other verticals this common misconception that physical security doesn't have this function or shouldn't have the focus on the features of cybersecurity, that it's a standalone IT task which should be on the background. So, and normally it takes quite a journey to get that physical security must be cyber secure as well. So can you elaborate a little bit on that topic?
Yeah, I think if we were to get into this discussion, we'll have to shoot a completely new video. But if I can summarize it, is yes, a lot of the individuals are quite right that physical security is standalone. But this is, in my mind and my experience, a very old school way of doing things, where physical security is on a standalone network. Because the main driver, what we're all leading towards, is to try to capture as much data of the security components, metadata, analyzing the metadata, and be able to maintain the equipment remotely. So you are leaning towards a networked solution, and a lot of the organizations are leaning towards a cloud-based network solution, right? Now, it is costly. Of course, it's costly, and it's not something that gets implemented overnight. It requires a good thought-out strategy, so you can do it step by step, and your stakeholders are happy to invest with progress. But it is moving away from standalone. It is definitely looking towards a network solution where the benefits outweigh, I would say, cost from a perspective that if you only look at maintenance costs of sending out individuals onto site to run diagnostics versus being able to do it from a remote area across your global estate, you already have cost savings over there. If you look at removing physical infrastructure on site, even like storage equipment, your old server racks or NVRs or whatever you might have, and migrating that into cloud, just from that perspective, you're looking at savings as well. So, as I said, this is a topic that we can talk over for a longer period of time. But from what I've experienced, it's definitely worthwhile taking this journey towards an integrated platform.
Okay, so I actually encourage all of our listeners to comment if they would like to hear more about this topic, and then we can shoot another video about it. But for now, thank you very much for joining me. I think it's great, valuable information for myself and all of us. For everyone, please don't forget to like the video, to subscribe to the channel. Daniel, thank you so much, and I hope we will shoot another video soon again. And goodbye, everyone.
Thank you, Eve. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.